Our guest this morning is the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Professor Nentawe Goshwe Yilwada. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Good morning to you, Prof.
Good morning, Yomi.
Okay,
good morning, sir. Nigerians.
Thank you very much, sir. But it's R, not M. It's Yori, not Yomi. But thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
Well taken. Well noted.
Indeed. So we welcome you. We're delighted to have you, especially as it will give us the opportunity to understand the work of your ministry. It sounds like crucially important when you look at humanitarian affairs and poverty reduction. In fact, that seems like two spheres of influence. Maybe we could take the humanitarian affairs. Does that concern disasters, or in a word, maybe you should just tell me what exactly it means to your ministry when we talk about humanitarian affairs?
Thank you so very much, Yomi, and for this opportunity to speak and interact with Nigerians.
Okay.
Let me in a country, people that are desperate for life. So it's like giving oxygen to somebody who is about to die and reviving him to give him life. But normally, if you give somebody oxygen, what alternative do you give him? What do you do with him to make him live beyond just the oxygen? That's the poverty reduction component.
Okay.
So humanitarian is like giving somebody oxygen who is about to die. Then the poverty reduction component is now moving that person beyond the oxygen you are providing, which is moving out of poverty. So there are two components of my ministry that are actively managed. Let me take the humanitarian.
Sure.
In every society, most sane societies, you have what we call the social protection for the vulnerable group. Who are this vulnerable group? There are people who are economically vulnerable. It means that in terms of economic ladder, they are far low there that they cannot actually live like any other person in the society. They cannot access education, they cannot access health, they cannot access basic necessities of life, they cannot even access food. And so we then discuss about the multidimensional poverty that affects this category of people. We define in our own terms in Nigeria here, in the ministry, we have 138 data sets that we use to define this multidimensional poverty, and we use to rank people in society and group the people who will meet the criteria. So that's what anything we give people within that category, we call it conditional cash transfer or cash support, because a condition attached to it, you must meet the criteria of the poverty rate defined before you are assessed and given that money. That's number one. Number two, we have people who are affected by disasters, displaced communities. It could be natural disaster. It could be climate change. It could be also man-made, like the insurgency and the rest that we have.
Okay.
So people in this category also who are affected, displaced, or they are affected by this insurgency, climate change, natural disasters, they are also in that category that we need to be supported. The support here comes in because some of them will lose their livelihood. Some of them will lose their homes. Some of them don't have their business again. Some of them cannot return back to life. Some of them need social, social, cohesion within the community and society. That's the peace component now. So in all these category of people that are vulnerable, we have others also that by nature makes it difficult for them to access support. For example, the people that live with disability, they are also considered to be vulnerable. Pregnant women within rural communities who are also poor, they are more vulnerable. And then we have also the elderly, the senior citizens.
Yes.
Some don't have somebody to support them, and there's no livelihood support for people who are, elderly in our society. So this category of people are considered to be vulnerable. So what do we do with these people, and how do we support them? This is where the issue, this is where it comes up now. As a ministry, my main job is coordination. Coordination with the state, with the local governments, with international donor partners, with INGOs, to ensure that we provide the needed support, and we coordinate this support in such a way that we respond to all problems that takes place in the society. Let me give an example. The president was in Benue last month concerning the Yellow-Water crisis when the community was attacked. The attack left over, many people dead, many homes destroyed, many businesses destroyed, and many people displaced. The president, a week after he left, I was sent back to go to Benue State, conduct a need assessment of what happened in Yellow-Water, and also design a response plan for that community. Naturally, I cannot do it alone. So I brought the UN systems to be part of it. So a lot of UN programs, UNHCR, IOM, UNICEF, and several UN programs, UNFPA, all the rest, they were all part of the program that we worked together with them. We brought the INGOs. I brought the state SEMA, the State Emergency Management Agency. I brought also the Secretary General of the state. We brought all the relevant entities that we need to work with them to ensure that we give social protection for these people. They were all brought in. I brought international INGOs, the local NGOs. I brought also even the community leaders, traditional rulers. I spoke with the Totif. I spoke with Ochi Doma. I met local traditional rulers in the community. I met community leaders. So we now work together to gather data. After that, we met and validated that data. Then we designed a response plan. International community on us came and met again and validated the response plan. The response plan has 3 components. Component 1 is the humanitarian response plan. That one covers like food support, non-food support, temporary shelter, temporary water supply, and protection for the women, vulnerable women group, providing health services, providing counseling services for them. All these are humanitarian response plan. Then we also discuss about the peace building and social cohesion response plan. That one also goes into the mapping of the conflict, that conflict mapping and social cohesion of the community. So we designed, because discovered that the problem is beyond Benue State, because most people that were killed came from Nasarawa State. So the problem started in Nasarawa State and snowballed into the people moving and displaced into Yellow-Water. And then they were attacked and killed in Yellow-Water. So we need to also start mapping the crisis right from Nasarawa into Benue State. And also we designed that response plan for it. We designed also the early warning and early response plan for it also. We designed also healing forum and the social counseling of these people also. That forms that component. Then the third component, durable solution, and the infrastructural development of the community, like rebuilding the school, because the displaced community added to the number of people who are in the community. They added almost 810 young children that were within the school age that were displaced from the community into that community. It simply means that we need to expand the school. We need to expand health services. We need to expand so many social services that are in that community now. Then they've lost their livelihood because they're mostly farmers. And the farming season has already exited. So we have to plan for dry season farming for them, so that they can also farm and have and earn their living during the dry season farming. We also think of the economic component, because they burn the market, they burn shops, they burn people livelihood. So we discuss how we can provide social protection for these people in the cost of their businesses also. And then also home to build their homes that were destroyed. All these are components that were designed to respond to the system. Good enough, because of coordinating, we called the international community. Like EU, for example, yesterday, they are donating 1.5 million euro, which is equivalent to 2.7 billion to that effect. Our total budget is 6.7 billion. Already we have 2.7 billion responded already, which means we are left with 4 billion left to be raised. We're waiting for the UN system. We're waiting for international community. We're waiting on the state government and also the federal government. Once we put this money in a basket, which we hope to do very fast and very quickly, and if not because this was meticulously designed and inclusively designed with all stakeholders participating, And everybody agreeing, from traditional ruler, community leaders, international community, government and state government, federal government, they were all part of it, including local government. It makes it easier for implementation because it's owned by the community. It's a community-owned design program to respond to the challenges within the community. And we're hopeful because the international community said that if this works, we should make it a template for all challenges in Nigeria so that communities will own how they design their response plan. And that's what we're working on right now in several communities. I was in Sokoto on nutrition challenges. The same thing we did. Already we have response from them, from community also. We have almost about €1 million response for that already. We have, I was in Borno State also. We did the same thing. So we're doing the same thing in several communities, but doing it as a community-owned program. And that's what we're doing for now within the ministry. In summary, that gives you about the humanitarian component. The issue of poverty reduction, we're working in creating jobs, opening spaces, working with private sector to ensure that we do job mapping, and after the job mapping, we also do the job allocation. Currently, we finished the nationwide training based on the critical job needs of the country that we did the job mapping last year. We picked agriculture as one of the top need because of the poverty, because of the food needs of the country. We picked also automobile because most of the mechanics that we our survey revealed, most mechanics don't have digital skill to do diagnostic this thing of cars. Now, it means that most mechanics that we're having may extinct with time, and we've not trained the critical manpower that will replace them. Also, the same thing in IT, and we did the same thing also in other sectors, like in the energy sector, we did renewable energy training component also. So these are things we're doing to ensure that we create a new economy for these people so they can also transit. We also provide loan scheme for people, what we call the government enterprise empowerment program. So like all the beneficiaries of this program, they are intertwined. So that if you collect conditional cash transfer, we watch your investment pattern, you form cooperatives. If you grow, we migrate into a loan scheme. And you can collect the loan scheme to farm, you can collect the loan scheme to build your business, and it's a zero interest loan and also non-collateral loan. So it goes only with cooperatives. So these are some of the programs we're doing, among many others, to ensure that we move people out of poverty and we also work on humanitarian response plan for the people.
Oh, thank you very much, Professor. In fact, that's quite frankly, thank you very much, because it's a comprehensive kind of response. And as you said, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what you do. Yes. It's not as if you've been exhaustive. Yes. There are many other things that you do. So let me just ask the question. Yes. In 2 years of the Tinubu administration, how would you assess progress vis-a-vis your goals, and what your mission statement really is? How well have things worked out, or have there been challenges that have indeed challenged the sort of the benchmarks that you have set, that you had set priorly?
Okay, let me start by making a deep dive into some of the activities that we've achieved within the 2 years of the president.
Okay.
First and foremost, when the president came in, the social register was only 13.7 million and was targeting only the rural poor. We'll be able to add 13.4 million households. We'll be able to add the rural poor, the urban poor, into the social register, capturing the people in the slums and covering them into the social register. And we've added over 6 million people from the 6 million households from the urban poor, added to the rural poor, to form now what we have, the 19.7 million households, covering 71 million people across the country, which are among the poor. And this covers over 230,000 villages and communities across the country. That's an achievement because we moved the social register from 13 million to also 19 million in 2 years. That's number one. Number two, we'll be able to geotag homes of the people who are on the social register, verify them, and also set criteria for assessing them, which we set 138 data set that we can assess them. And that has dropped some people who didn't meet the condition for being given those support.
Okay.
Before now, we don't have those digital data and digital tracking. So normally you just go into community and you give them cash. We'll move away from the cash, distribution of cash, into a digital verification, digital data, and the transferring of the money into the account of people. So before now, in the last 8 years that of social investment, only 2 million households benefited from the conditional cash transfer. Just in the last 6 months, we'll be able to give up to 6 million people, about 6 million households, the conditional cash transfer. This 300 times more than what was done in 8 years. And we're hopeful that before this year runs out, around October this year, we should be able to do 15 million households, which is unprecedented. It has never been done before in Nigeria. And that will be the largest financial support that will be done to the rural poor and the urban poor in Nigeria. That's number one. That's number two. Number three, financial penetration. Before now, it takes about 1 hour for people in the rural community to access financial services. But with the penetration of what we're doing, because we're creating account for them, we're giving them verified account numbers, we're giving them verified telephone numbers, we're giving them verified NIN to identify them. So we've helped in penetrating the NIN penetration nationwide. Because people in the rural poor are finding reason to open accounts. They're finding reason also to register to be part of the national identity. And that has helped in bringing most people into the financial system. Banks are now penetrating. Financial system will be also penetrating. More money is distributed in the village. Just imagine a rural community that has about 1,000 people who are benefiting from this program of 75,000. It simply means that you have dropped 75 million in that village. Imagine what 75 million would do to commerce in the village. Okay. What 75 million would do to farming in the village. What it would do to the value chain of agriculture in the village. What it would do to health. What it would do to education. What it would do to several sectors of the village. It will build the economy. It will be the social service in the rural community. And that's what the president is doing. Ensuring that there's financial inclusion, there's economic inclusion at the same time in the rural community.
Yeah.
That we have done.
Okay.
At the same time also, on the same social penetration, we've created jobs because it is people that we've hired to capture this data of these people. And we're hiring over 10,000 people who are going around the whole country and are moving. This week we are bringing MTN, we are bringing Airtel, we are bringing over 20 service providers, payment service providers, who are going to rural community to ensure that we do the quick verification of all these people. And this is a large job being created. And for every person that they capture, based on the payment from NIMSI, the payment service provider is given $1. And $1 is about 1,500. We're talking about roughly about 70 million people to be captured. 70 million multiplied by 1,005 is over 100 billion. So over 100 million is given to young men. Over 100 billion will be given to young men who are hired and distributed to communities and working across communities, and this nationwide. So we're creating and distributing wealth among these young people who are unemployed, who are going to be engaged to ensure that they have access to this fund to perform this duty. So a lot of services we're doing in that sector. Secondly, we'll also be able to train people in the critical economic sectors, like I told you about our Skill to Work program that covers agriculture, it covers IT, it covers automobile, He raised a testimony. He said, this year I'm going to have a bomber harvest and I can make a living for myself through the Skill to Wealth program of the ministry. One of them did a step-down program training for mechanics in Yola. And we can get several testimonies. And because of that, there's now international intervention to ensure that we spread this program across the country. UNDP has stepped in to provide funding and support for the program. Plan International has stepped in. They are going to provide funding and support for this program. And because we've set in a good precedence and a good base for training young people and doing job placement, many international communities are coming in. Like I told the automobile, who did it? It was CIG Motors in Lagos that conducted it.
Okay.
Because, and they brought their own auto mechanics. They stepped in and conducted a detailed both IT and the mechanic training. So it was more or less a mechatronic training that was conducted for the auto mechanic trainees. It was an excellent outing, and the response was very perfect. And they be incorporated into the association of automobiles guys in Autotech. And these are the things we're doing, and the response we're having from the international community. And I can go on and on. I can tell you also what we're doing in terms of peace response. I was in the boundary of Chad and Niger in Gambarugala. I visited the communities. And believe you me, a lot of Nigerians that were in Chad, they were in Niger, and they were in Cameroon. And the president has asked us to sign an agreement, which the agreement has, I've signed an agreement I've signed an agreement on behalf of Nigeria with Cameroon. I signed an agreement with behalf of Nigeria with Chad, and we're waiting to sign very soon the one with Niger Republic.
Okay.
That has enabled most Nigerians who felt Nigeria is safer now, because a lot of them left Nigeria into Cameroon, they left into Chad, they left into Niger. We have over 100,000 of them, according to the record by IOM. Today, they are coming back to Nigeria because they felt their communities are safer now.
Okay.
And a number of them are coming back to Nigeria.
I beg your pardon. That's gratifying to hear. One moment, please, Minister. We have a caller. A viewer has called in, Mr. George in Ikeja. Okay. Good morning, and thank you very much for holding on, Mr. George. Go ahead now, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yeri.
Good morning.
Good morning to the Honorable Minister.
Yes.
Uncle Yeri, I have to first thank the Honorable Minister for finding time to talk to us. This is the first time I'm seeing a minister from that ministry coming to talk to us on this program. I was listening to him, and I have one question for him, Uncle Yeri.
Okay.
If I understand it, this cash transfer is for the vulnerable, the poor people.
Yes.
I do not know how they measure the yardstick, because I was involved in data collection. I was one of the CDA, and we were asked, some officials came to compile names of people. So we told the vulnerable, the ones we consider to be vulnerable in the estates, to come out and register. But I saw someone who is a landlord that has a house of 4 flats. He drives a car, he lives where? I said, okay, this thing is for the vulnerable. He said, how did I come about that he's also qualified? So we were at a fix, because there were no clear guidelines on who should be registered and who should not be registered. At the end of the day, the man was registered.
Oh,
so
dear.
I want to ask the minister, how do they recognize in the list that these people are actually vulnerable people? How can a landlord who has a house and is collecting rent, millions of naira from people as rent,
yes,
be collecting 10,000, 20,000 from government as a vulnerable citizen? How do you verify, sir?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. George.
Yes, sir.
Minister.
Good.
Okay.
That's the reason why I was saying that when we came in, we stopped the fiscal giving of cash to people. First and foremost, we did the verification of people who are in the social register. And we've lost almost 6% of people who were in the social register before, because when we did the verification, we discovered that they were not qualified. Let me give you how we did the verification. First, we are geotagging all the homes of people who are on the social register. We geotag all their homes so we can verify and see what home they're living in. That's number one. Number two, we're getting the account numbers. We're also getting their NIN. With that, we can check the accounts and verify if they qualify even from telephone calls, from the account numbers, how much transaction they do in the account, because of NIN, give us a summary of what they do. So there are several other factors that we actually used. Then we also do and capture, we go back to their homes and capture data about them in their homes. The kind of homes they live in, access to education, access to health, access to other things. And then also we capture not just him alone, but everybody in the household. So we assess also the household and do the assessment of the people in the household. So these are how we'll be able to use to dictate people to assess people who are poor. Now we have, like I said, we have 138 data sets that we use. So we go to the home, we capture all this data. But before we start, we start by doing what we call community targeting. The community targeting simply means that we go to the community. The community will now sit down and divide themselves into women, into youth, and also into the men. They now define what is poverty in their community. They now assess the people, and they give the list of people who are poor in the community, and they sign it off. We go and do the verification of people that they claim they are poor in their community based on those 138 data sets. And that has helped us to do that community targeting, which is what is globally used to target people who are poor in the community. And it has responded well. We did a survey, and you can go and check with the World Bank. We asked the World Bank to do a survey for us, a blind survey independent of our ministry. They did the survey. This is the outcome of the survey. We asked them to check if the people who are giving them this money, they exist. They discovered that 96% of the people that we gave the money for, they could find them on the social register and they could locate their home, and by fiscal assessment, the people look poor. That's one. Number two, we asked them also to find for us also if they're using the money appropriately, and did an assessment and discovered that people are using, some used to buy food, some for education, some for health, some set up their businesses. And we categorize all these numbers and we asked to give us the data about them. We're able to get them and we discovered that. And several other factors we asked to define for us. And the independent researcher, a blind researcher that till date we don't know him, brought the results, and the results reflect a very positive outcome. Like I keep on saying, what we've done now, we are proud to say that I've asked a lot of people, I said, we are free, you can come to our ministry. We can give data. I've asked NGOs, some CSO have come, we give them data, they've done their verification, they discovered that what we claim are true.
All right.
And we're open to the journalists, we're open to the general public.
Yeah.
People can actually confirm our claims.
All right. One moment, please, now. Minister. Again,
what we've done.
Minister, I'm sorry to interrupt you. One moment, please. Another caller has joined us. Mazi Okorafo in Arochukwu. Mazi, are you still there?
Yes.
Yes, I'm still there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Honorable Minister.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Welcome to the studio. I want to look at this issue of humanitarian assistance when there is a disaster. I think there is need for the Ministry of Humanitarian to be what we call proactive. All those areas, that is black spots that they might have marked that will be disaster. Is it not good for the Ministry and them to join hands together now, find solutions to that? Because if you check where, you see that the money we will spend in order to recruit or to bring back those people is higher than what we could have used in order to save the situation. Because I'm looking at the angle of proactive action, not inaction. Because if you look around now, many people, all those IGPs, many of them cannot go back to their places. If those of them going back to their place, they have double-minded or double standard that started to go or talk to compensate to that ID camp. It doesn't make, because to me, when there is a report or when there's something forecast, that is forecasted, let the authority concern the humanitarian authority. Now, when you say you are sending this, I would think that some of these things they send to the people, like all these noodles, I think the government should look into it. They are telling us that noodles, some of them are not good.
I'm not hearing very well again.
Noodles are not good for human being consumption. Let the ministry take note of it. Not to send all these noodles to people. It doesn't make sense because you don't send something to people that when they eat, they start going to the hospital to look for doctors. It doesn't make sense. So give them something that they know that will help them. And you should look into this issue of the Teachers Without Borders to help all those women in IDPs or those that any disaster will affect. We are not praying for disaster, but it will happen because we are not on the what you call climate change. So many things, changes continue happening day in, day out. Mazi Okorafo is my name from Arusuku. Have a blessed day, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Mazi Okorafo. I noticed that you had a difficulty, Minister, but did you sort it out? Could you hear? Okay, there seemed to be a challenge there because suddenly, as Mazi Okorafo, okay, what we'll do is that we'll take a break. Of the last guest, did you hear him? You were having a difficulty with your earpiece.
No, I think if yes, if you can just relate to me now.
Okay,
so
to sort of paraphrase what he was saying, I think he was talking about, on the one hand, he was talking about how much of preventive action can actually take place in the work that you do. And he was saying that perhaps there are some IDP camp, internally displaced persons camps, where the people there are actually now in two minds as to whether upon your giving the signal or the authorities giving the signal, they can go back to their homes or not. In fact, many of them would prefer to stay where they have been evacuated to. So I guess that's what the important part of his question was. Shouldn't we concentrate as much as possible on preventive measures?
And that's what we're doing right now. The president set up a presidential committee on anticipatory response to disaster and flood. And it's headed by the vice president. I'm deputizing for him, and with the NSA and other members of the committee from agencies of government, international partners and donor partners and other NGOs that work on disaster activities. We've designed the response plan already, anticipated response plan already. The budgeting is being done. I think today, even by 1:30, we are presenting the report to the vice president finally, so that it can be annually transmitted to the president. And we are hopeful that this may help in early response, early warning, and early response system that we designed for that purpose. You know, disaster takes place in most countries, even in developed countries. But the difference, although it minimizes the impact by the early warning system that helps to reduce loss of life, loss of property, and also helps in preventing some of the things that would have been prevented. You know, it is estimated that when you do early warning, early response, for every 1 naira you spend, you are saving 7 naira.
Okay.
For every 1 naira you spend for early warning and early response, you are saving 7 naira. And we're working on that so that we can also reduce the cost and manpower loss that we've been having.
Okay. Now, you see, I'm happy that you brought up the matter of financing,
then the second
money.
Aspect, the second component, which is the people who would have loved to go back home.
Yes.
Now, you know, based on international conventions, you don't ask people who are displaced to go back compulsory to where they, to a place. They choose a location that they want to be. That's why I discovered that, for example, the people in Borno State, we built a house for them in Nasarawa because some of them they said they don't want to go back. They live around the Abuja axis. They said that they want to live around nearby. So we built a housing unit for them in Nasarawa State and moved them to Nasarawa State. There are some that they say they prefer to go to say around Kano. We built 100 housing units. We moved some people from Zamfara and this into Kano State. We built 100 housing units in Maiduguri. We're doing the same thing. And we're doing the same thing in several other places, Zamfara, Katsina, and the rest. Now, also at the same time, there are people also who are going back to their communities. An international community on their own are helping them to build their home. Like in Borno State, We provided building materials to the state government in partnership with IOM and the rest, so that as people are migrating back to Nigeria from Cameroon and from Chad especially, they are being given support to set up their home themselves in Borno State. If you go to Borno State now, they've decongested the camps by over 70%.
All right.
We have less than 30% of people who were in the camp about 2 years ago that are in camp now. And that is done in conjunction with the state government, the IOM, and the federal government. So we're doing the same thing in other communities also. We can't achieve everything at a go, but we watch the security trajectory in the communities and ensure that we work out a work plan that will respond based on security challenges that they have in the community and the level of safety of the communities also.
You said earlier that I think Europe donated 1 million euro. So that sort of, reminded me about, wait a minute, all of this is going to cost a pretty...
1.5 million euro to the Benue DC.
Okay.
But you see, when it was donated by European Union, it's not going to come to the coffers of government.
Okay.
We've worked out implementation plan for them. We've worked out the detailed implementation plan for them. So each group can pick what they want. Then they will select an implementation partner. So, like European Union is selecting ECHO under CPIN to implement the project in Benue. So the money will not come straight to either Benue State government or the federal government. Rather, they're going to select implementation partners in conjunction with us, so that we have international people that will actually implement it. We had one with ECOWAS just early this year. But what we did was that we asked ECOWAS to go with Red Cross. So Red Cross implemented the distribution of food support in Borno and in Bauchi for victims of flood in those communities. So most time this cash, our program we're designing now for transparency and implementation and better targeting, so that we allow the ministry to do the monitoring. We prefer the partners to select implementation partners. Then we can now supervise, we play the role of coordination and supervision. It helps to improve transparency, it fast-tracks the process of implementation, and reduce the bureaucracy of government also in implementation. That's the new route we're taking actually.
Okay.
And that's just improved transparency and fast-track the process of implementation of our programs.
So that I get that I understand it properly, you said the European Union donated the 1.5 million euros. And, Euro.
About 2.7 billion.
Yes, and but that was specific. It wasn't just thrown into a general pot. It was specific because of the issues in Plateau, I believe.
In Yelwata.
Yes. In Yelwata. Yes. Okay. So that sort of reminded me, what's your budget like? And I mean, I don't know that you can have too much funds. So how are you managing? Is it donations such as this that sort of make up the shortfall, or do you have an adequate budget?
Yeah, you can't have enough budget for disaster, because you can't estimate what disaster you have this year. Nobody planned for the Mokwa crisis, disaster. Nobody planned for the tanker disaster that took place in Suleja. Nobody planned for what happened in Maiduguri, that we are going to have massive destruction of lives and property. So normally government made provision for a certain amount of money. But also we work with our partners, development partners and international partners, and also state governments to ensure that we coordinate these resources when it happens for effective coordination, and the money is generated as quick as possible so we can respond. So that's what normally happens when it comes to respond to disaster.
And then how do you work it? Do you have staff or teams all over the country? That is a pan-Nigeria situation, or, resources?
Yes,
okay, please go ahead.
We have, we have NEMA. We have NEMA. NEMA is for emergency. If there's an emergency, NEMA comes in. But when the emergency spans beyond a week to the second week, then the National Commission for Refugees migrants, and displaced persons takes over from them. So we have two agencies that work hand in hand to ensure that they support displaced and disaster victims.
So, so far so good. That's what you said. In 2 years, yes. You know, generally speaking, satisfied with progress that has been made, because it's a totally different picture from what was obtaining maybe 2 years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago. That's to one side. So I wonder, what are you looking towards being able to do? I like, as you explained to us, that, well, it's difficult to plan for disasters unless you want to start sitting down and brainstorming about what kind of disaster could happen now. So I imagine that's not the way it works. Yes. But tell me, what are you looking forward to? Yes, in you know, if we got 50% mark in this particular administration, yes. You know, just staying on Tinubu's first term administration, what are you looking forward to being able to achieve, to do better, to improve on?
First, on the humanitarian component, you know, first and foremost, one of the biggest achievements we've done also is, before now, development partners and humanitarian partners don't sit on the same table in Nigeria concerning disaster and humanitarian issues.
Okay.
But we have to bring all the international partners to sit on the same table now, which is one of the achievements that we've done. But what we want going forward is to set up a basket, because funding are getting slimmer. US has withdrawn their funding completely into Nigeria. UK reduced their own by 30%, Germany by 25%, France by 25%, Netherlands by 20%, and several other countries are slimming their support to Nigeria. That simply means that we have to look for alternative funding for disaster and humanitarian challenges that we have in the country. It simply means that we are going to have more difficult times ahead because of the climate change issues that are coming up, and which the effect of climate is increasing every year, and which means we need more funding for disaster. And what we are doing now is work with this international community and the local community to work on private sector intervention in disaster management. For now, unlike other countries, that there's a basket where the development partners, the government at the state and subnational, the private sector can make donation into that basket. We don't have that basket in Nigeria. Well, the future we're working on with the National Assembly to ensure that we have that basket set up. The National Assembly get a fund, disaster management fund, and all these monies that we require for intervention are contributed from the private sector from the government, from the state government, international community. The money is in the basket, and then it is being worked on as intervention fund for disasters as they take place.
Okay.
That's the future of what we're looking at. So that a lot of funding can come from Nigeria than looking forward to the funding coming from outside Nigeria. Okay.
Well, okay, sorry. Please continue.
Yes.
You said two. Please continue.
The second thing we're looking for is, as a future is developing a comprehensive work plan for Nigeria. For now, we don't have a long-term disaster and humanitarian poverty reduction plan for the entire country that spans over. We have social investment program that will end. There's a plan for that will end next year, but we need to design a comprehensive response plan that goes beyond social investment program into poverty reduction, and also working a comprehensive system that will have the same system working at the state, working at the federal, and working at the local government. If you check, there's no social intervention program at the local government and at the state level. But mark you, most of the factors that has to do with poverty are at the local government at the state level. But there's no social intervention program at the state and local government. Only federal government has been doing social intervention. Few states have copied from the federal government to step it down at the subnational, but very few states are having it. I'll give an example. Primary education is at the local government. Secondary education is at the state level. So if you take out poverty of access to education is at the state and local government. Poverty of access to health is, primary health is at local government. Secondary health at the state level. Sanitation is at the local government and state level. Water is at the state and local government. Several factors that have to do with poverty. The indices of poverty indices are actually mostly at the state and local government. Now we need to work in partnership with local government and state government so that most intervention we're doing can be replicated at the state, replicated at the local government. If not so, we can reap the benefit of the intervention Mr. President is doing at the national level. These are things we have to do a coordinated activity of intervention that we need to do at the state and local government. That's the second aspect that we need to do. Third level we need to work also is to begin to work more or less on poverty reduction than humanitarian only. People must migrate out of poverty. Social intervention, like the humanitarian intervention, give like life-saving. We need to emphasize on durable solution. And that's the way forward that even international community are working on now. Nigeria must adopt it, and that's part of what we're working on as a long-term plan for Mr. President. And that's what Mr. President also sees it. And these are, among several other things, that the major takeaway that we're working on to improve the humanitarian and poverty reduction scale up at the state, local government, and national level.
Earlier, you were speaking about the private sector. Can you hear me well? Earlier on, you were speaking about the private sector, and you were saying that we don't have the sort of a basket into which people can make their donations. So I just was wondering about that, because you find that when we have the occasional disaster, or maybe I shouldn't just say occasional disaster as if to, but when we have the disaster, you find a lot of humanitarian-minded corporate organizations, being generous with their donations. That is one thing, but it's not structured. What you were describing that you said we don't have, that they might have in other places, it's different from what we are used to in Nigeria, where, corporate organizations, both Nigerian and others, actually now, make some donations.
Yori, that's what we're talking about, the having a basket.
I know, but making it
because
more organized.
Yori, you may go to your location and give a donation. I will go and give a donation. The state government will give their own donation. Federal government will give a donation. And sometimes they will repeat the donation to one person. Meanwhile, many other persons within that place are not getting it. And they may even be suffering more severe challenges. But if it is organized, data-driven, digitally captured, so that we have a data-driven response to all these challenges, so that and there's a basket for it. It will go around more people, it will be more distributed, there will be more equity in the distribution, and there will be more transparency. And that's what we're discussing here, that we need more transparency, we need more inclusion, and we need more distribution of this aid to the people, but that it must be organized.
All right.
It must be backed by law. The basket must be backed by law. The access to the funding must be backed by law. So these are what we are looking at as our future. And the international community and the Nigerian government have all agreed on that need, that it's even getting late to have that basket.
Okay. Now, just before we go, you've mentioned on a number of occasions the concept of geotagging. So now, could you just explain that briefly for our viewers? It's one of those technical terms. It has to do with your data and all of that. But what is geotagging?
Okay, geotagging simply means that if you go to a house, I can get the coordinate, the latitude and longitude of that home. And it means from where I'm sitting, I can click and it will give me the picture of your house without me physically going there. I can assess what home you have. And I can use a program to see which roof you're using, which type of building you're using, and you can estimate the cost of the building for me. so they can give me whether this building is expensive or not.
You can do that across Nigeria.
Helps.
You can do that across the country.
Yes, we're doing for the poor.
For the poor.
For the poor people.
I was going to say, how about those?
Register.
How about those who are okay? All the people on the social register. Because I was going to ask, how about some people who will now be apprehensive about security? Say, this one where the government is like the big brother. It's able to see where I am, is in my house, from wherever they are. It's not like that. You have to be on the social register.
It's only for the poor people.
Okay.
Yes, only people on the social register. Yes, so you will sign off to be in the social register. So only people in the social register. But that's what we need to expand the social register and make it more dynamic. And that's what we're working on. If a disaster takes place where I am now, in this place, I'm also vulnerable.
Oh.
So I need to be captured also.
All right.
That's
all right.
Truth.
All right.
That's what I keep advocating, that these vulnerable people is not actually the poor people.
It's everybody.
Is vulnerable.
It's everybody.
If a disaster takes place here, everybody becomes vulnerable in this place. And if I'm Jotak, my home is Jotak, my phone is Jotak, my data is Jotak, then I can use the telephone number of everybody who is here to know who are those people affected.
I see. Well, thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much, Prof. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I mean...
Thank you, Yuri. Thank you, Yuri.
We really have had a good time in that you've given us a whole wealth of information about the work of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. So I want to thank you very much, Mr. Minister,
thank you, sir,
for coming on our programs. We really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we're going to have to leave it there for now. That's our program today. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh